infrastructure development projects focusing largely on industrial infrastructure development, but that's not all. And besides industrial infrastructure, we are into commercial enterprises, lots of them, you'll see a list. Academia, energy, alternate energy to be precise, environment, and micro and small medium enterprise sector development, especially the tech startups. Aspire World Investments is a corporate umbrella that provides the corporate umbrella to the group entities of the Nexel Group. Nexel Group has been in business for about 2 decades now. We started with trading, and then we diversified into security services, into exports and imports, logistics, IT, software engineering, bulletproofing, agriculture, and so many other businesses, as good as our president could do. He's known in our country as the master of diversity. So, I mean, his ideology of business revolves around diversity. Well, you can see our track record. We started in 1998 with Wyco World Traders. Then in 2002, Apex Worldwide. 2007, Saviour's Line, that was logistics. Engineering, we have also been into contracting. But you can see we started venturing into contracting in 2008, so we didn't do really well, but we're still working. Then we went into food processing in 2012. 2013 was the Nexel Technologies with our software house. Then same in 2013, we incorporated Nexel Security Services and Defense Armoring. Nexel HR Management started in 2014. Al-Hasaka Technical and Megaline Events Management LLC are Emarat-based companies. We started in 2014 and 15 respectively. So our track record is very visible. Everyone knows in our spheres what we have done and how well we have done. The main idea behind Aspire World Investments was to enable prosperity cycle. The prosperity cycle, as we perceive, starts from an input, and then it's a cyclic process where you have input in shape of funds, services, equity, and then the efficiency is catalyzed by the investments and acquisitions, especially when we acquire stakes in other companies, or the turnaround investments that we have. Performance is assured by the management itself and the kind of services. Dr. Munir usually says that it's not what we do, it's how we do it. So how well we do is the performance part of it. And then the outcomes, tangible or intangible, are harvested and then discharged in shape of dividends and knowledge. One of our knowledge distribution, part of our knowledge distribution strategy is these Aspire Investment Summits. Our friends know that we started organizing these summits in Dubai World Trade Center last year in October. And then formally, the first Aspire Investment Summit was organized in January, and this is the 9th here. What we do, our typical investment strategy at Aspire revolves around infrastructure development, mostly in the JV environments. We are developing specialized economic zones along China-Pakistan Economic Corridor inside Pakistan in 56 different locations across the country. Alternate power generation and transmission, that is also on our priority. Growth capital and assets management. IT sector, we are already in IT sector, but we want to move forward towards edtech and agri-tech and e-commerce, fintech, and electronic revenue tracking sort of projects. Most of our investments have been and are in shape of private equity. Most of the cases, you'll feel like our investors are afforded capital protection, optimal capital protection by the assets itself. This Aspire Business Hub, which is something which Aspire is really proud of. The Aspire Business Hub, we call it an oasis of productivity. We established this business hub in Dubai initially with the thought that we could help companies, entities entering into Emirat as a newer jurisdiction to help them with their incorporation, with their setups, and with the kind of funding support, access to the liquidity, as we say, and the direct business development. But now it is growing in such a diverse way, in such a diverse fashion, that now too many things are adding up. Now we are looking at franchise modeling. We are actually doing franchise modeling for a few brands from Europe who wish to venture into Emirat. Distribution channels for different companies from Korea, South Korea especially, into Emirat and China. And so the diversity of services within Aspire Business Hub is growing. But the main idea is to help businesses do the business. Now I'll come to a flagship project, that is Aspire Investment Park. It is primarily an industrial infrastructure development. So we are going to develop horizontal infrastructure for these industrial parks, and then the developed plots according to the zoning carried out by us will be sold to the industries across the globe, and we'll invite them to come and set up their industrial manufacturing facilities in Pakistan. But these industrial parks are not just the industrial infrastructure, they include the commercial infrastructure like offices and showrooms, retail places. It will also have vocational training institute to develop a cadre of youth in multiple skills. It will also have leisure, accommodation and tourist attractions and convention center facilities like that. So it's a very comprehensive concept for the indigenous industrialization inside Pakistan. As I said, these are multi-facility economic zones. So starting from the high-tech industries down to the nanotech research center, there is a variety of activities one can look at. And I'm very happy to have our friend from Pakistan today here with us, Mr. Wahid Rafi, who is helping us with the land acquisition process. And he has done a lot, he has lent us a lot of support towards the land acquisition process in Pakistan. So very soon you will see that we'll announce our first location. As I mentioned, there are going to be these 56 districts in Pakistan where these industrial parks will be located. Investment strategy is simple: land ownership by the holding company, as we usually do in Pakistan. Preference shares for the private equity investors, flexible exit opportunities and reinvestment opportunities, 100% capital protection by assets. That is something which is here for the people, for our friends who want to join us, especially the non-resident Pakistanis here in this room. Thank you so much from my side. That was all a little brief about our flagship project, that is Aspire Industrial Parks. Now I would like to take this opportunity to invite a great man, a man with lots of vision, a big, huge heart, and big mustaches. This is the time to invite my friend, the president of Aspire World Investments, Dr. Munir Ahmed, to come and say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to our 9 Aspire Investment Summits. As you know that Aspire World Investments is a distinctively finest, cohesive investment group owing to its unparalleled perfectionism unprecedented yield, certainty, and out of the box resolutions for innovative economy. It inspired to yield sustainable economics while creating value through the innovative with reliability. Our aspirations for the future are filled with hope and energized by our vision for a resilient and sustainable economy. AWI regularly hosts monthly Aspire Investment Summit. Each of these refined gatherings are based on thematic concept fostering the future economy and productivity growth. The theme for today's ninth Aspire Investment Summit is productivity growth. AWI believe that sustainable prosperity can be harvested by enabling the prosperity cycle. Enabling prosperity cycle is return yield, the productivity growth. Aspire World Investment has introduced a unique ideology to practically enable prosperity cycle at our Aspire Business Hub, Dubai. Our friends know that AWI wholeheartedly foster B2B connectivity at Aspire Business Hub for the sake of productivity growth. As far as I know, there are three pillars of the productivity growth. One, access to liquidity. Second, focused networking. Third, direct business support. Aspire Business Hub offers immense opportunities to its members ranging from inception to business support, from international cooperation to funding and investors access, and from marketing support to the direct business development. The Business Hub is truly an oasis of productivity and growth. Today, I am very happy to know that our friends from the Carlton James Group are working to introduce a very intelligently structured financial product under the platform of Diversified Alpha Fund. The fund will be dedicated for the emerging market, including Pakistan. The great support from the Carlton James Group will not only usher a new era of productivity growth in Pakistan, but will also help non-resident Pakistan and foreign investors to invest in Pakistan through a highly productive and secure investment product. As most of you know, that Aspire World Investment is actively working on development of specialized industrial parks inside Pakistan. Land acquisition is in process and we will announce the location of our first industrial park very soon. This 338 million US dollar project was first announced in January 2017. Today, as we meet in September, I really feel happy that we have made extraordinary progress. This progress was possible only because of the remarkable support from our friends, especially Carlton James Group UK, Elliot Hadi Shahid UAE, Pakistan Business, Professional Council, Abu Dhabi, Petrocross Group, DUC International, Dubai, and Petro Total from Saudi Arabia. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude for His Excellency Dr. Syed Kaisar Anis, the President of Pakistan Business Council, Mr. Zamboni from Aries Cosmo, Italy, Mr. Muhammad Rahim, Mr. Sanad Muhammad, member, Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Kadir from Macro Group, Georgia, and all of other all friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank all of you today and look forward to our continued support and prayers. As I always says, you just have to aspire and we will shape your dreams and aspiration into reality. AWI is all yours. Thank you.
It's a great honor for us at Aspire to welcome our great friends from the Carlton James Group. I would like to take this opportunity to invite Mr. John Gilfillan, the Director of Sales of Carlton James Group, to come and introduce the Diversified Alpha Fund.
Everybody. It's an honor to be here this evening. As Dr. Umar said, my name is John Gilfillan. I'm the Global Sales Director for Carlton James Group. I'd like to spend a few minutes this evening talking with you about our Diversified Alpha Fund. Sorry, Kelsey, are you technical issues? I think, as the slide says, really, what the Carlton James Diversified Alpha Fund is a... Oh, sorry about that. The Carlton James Diversified Alpha Fund is a Cayman-regulated mutual fund. If you can just move to the next slide, please. You're going too fast, Kelsey. Just to the next box. Sorry about this. And I think just a few highlights about the fund before going into more detail. The Diversified Alpha Fund essentially combines a core strategy with an alpha-generating satellite asset classes, and I'll go into that in more detail in the presentation. The core strategy of the portfolio is essentially collateralized asset classes. The alpha strategy, they're generally more short-term in nature but have the potential for much higher returns. We expect to pay a dividend in the order of 8% per annum, and that is to be paid on a quarterly basis. What's very important for the Carlton James Group is capital preservation. This is all about risk management. So every time we analyze an investment opportunity, we start off by looking at capital preservation and risk management. All the other metrics we look at come after that. I think it's important to note up front, it's for any investor coming in, it's the initial lockup period is a 2-year period. There are 2 share classes, a US dollar share class and a sterling share class. But I think the good thing about this fund is the ticket size to invest in the fund is relatively low, but we don't expect it will be at that level for too long. So hopefully by the end of the presentation, if this is of interest to you, now's the time to come and talk with us. Just move to the next page. I think it's important when we're talking about Carlton James and the fund that you know who exactly Carlton James are. I'm sure a few of you have met with Simon Carlton over the past few months. But just to put it into context, the Carlton James Global Management is part of the Carlton James Group, which is a global investment firm. We have offices in Cayman Islands, United States, United Kingdom, and of course here in the United Arab Emirates. The UK office is actually based in Royal Wootton Bassett, which is not too far from London. The group was co-founded by Simon Carlton in 2012 along with 2 other partners. We specialize in boutique investments across a diverse range of different asset classes. Small team of 15, and our investor base to date has primarily been high net worth and ultra high net worth investors along with a few different pension funds. I also think it's important before investors make a decision on which fund to invest in to know a bit about the key people behind the fund. Next. You can actually put all the, yeah. I'll actually start off with the gentleman on the right, top right-hand side, Anthony Moore, who's the chairman of the group. Tony Moore has a vast amount of experience, over 40 years, and in fact he started working before some of us were actually born. Tony was the first man on the ground for Goldman Sachs in Southeast Asia. He set up their Hong Kong office. He was essentially leading the charge in Asia for Goldman Sachs for many years, including the privatization of Singapore Airlines. Tony was also involved in setting up the wealth management arm for Banque Nationale de Paris in the 1970s, and many other achievements as well. You can also see on here Simon Carlton, who founded the group. Simon will be around all evening if you want to have a chat with him, but Simon has extensive experience in a whole range of financial services. I briefly mentioned the core aspect of the strategy, which I'll go on to in more detail, but it's essentially around commercial real estate and the capital preservation piece I was talking to you about. And you'll see here, bottom right, Ryan Whitefield has over 20 years experience in construction, and he's worked on many blue chip projects in the United States. So there's a great deal of experience in the asset classes that we will be investing in. Joe Kelly. Joe has over 25 years of experience, started life at Citibank before moving on to manage money for De Credito Investment Management in Switzerland. And then, of course, we have Dr. Umair himself, who's also a member of our board and investment committee. The next few pages actually do go into some detail about the key achievements of our investment committee. As I said, Tony set up Goldman Sachs in Hong Kong and has done many other things. If people want to know more about the detail, as I say, we're around all evening, and we do have some brochures that we can give to you, which covers a lot more of the detail about the key people. But I think it's really important to let you know that the investment committee and the board behind the group have extensive global experience, and we've already started to tap into that, not just in terms of their knowledge, but also their global contacts. So we do see an awful lot of investment opportunities come our way from around the world, which all goes towards helping the diversification of the portfolio. In terms of our track record to date, over the last 5 years, we've delivered annualized average returns of 13.39% without any leverage, and that's net of any fees. And to put that into context, the FTSE All-Share has delivered just over 10% over the last 5 years on a total return basis. So if you'd put money into our funds, you would have certainly beat the FTSE All-Share index over the last 5 years. Yeah, that's fine. Just load up all the slide. At Carlton James Group, I think there are a few things I would like you to take away from the presentation this evening. But one of them is what we call the ABC approach to investing, and that refers to alpha, balanced, and core. In terms of, and I'll come back to the ABC approach in a moment. In terms of how we find our opportunities, I think a number of them we source ourselves, but the extensive network of partners we have means that a number of opportunities are actually shown to us. And I think it's important when looking at investments not to get too carried away with what you hear or see when it's first presented to you. I think you need to do some deep analysis. You need to strip back what the actual proposal is. I think our starting point is, well, look, how can we preserve our capital? If the world collapses and everything goes wrong, we need to ensure that our capital, our investors' capital, is preserved, so at least you can fight another day. But part of what that actually means is, what are the actual exit strategies for this investment that we are about to make? When you start off investing in things, you might have an idea of how you're going to exit, but in 5 years' time, the world might have changed, so you need to look at what other exit opportunities are out there as well. So that's one of the things we do consider. And whenever we do make an investment, typically we look for making a debt investment alongside an equity piece. And we also look to take a board position where possible. And I think our typical returns, as I said to you before, average just over 13% per annum. I'd just like to spend 1 or 2 minutes actually talking to you about why an investment in the fund makes sense at this moment in time. But in order to do that, I think you need to understand the context. Where we are now essentially is a function of the global crisis from 2007 and 2008. And I think what happened 10 years ago has essentially meant that the way that traditional banks view opportunities has changed very much. Alongside that, in terms of scarcity of capital, but alongside that, banks have suffered from increased regulation. The regulators have also increased Tier 1, Tier 2 capital ratios, which meant banks have tended to focus more internally, preserving their own balance sheet rather than lending out to or investing in other companies. But out of that, I think, come opportunities for those investors that can take a more flexible approach to investing, of which we'd like to consider ourselves being one of those flexible investors. I also think it's key to, if there is a scarcity of capital in the system, the impact that can have is pretty serious. And I've touched on a few here in terms of, real estate developments might not even start, and those that have started might not even finish if capital becomes more scarce. Operating companies can't get capital in order to expand and take on more jobs. And I think one of the most important points here is to do with innovation. Small companies typically are the innovators in the economy, and if they're not able to access finance, then innovation will dry up. So here at Carlton James, we've got some really exciting investments, particularly in technology projects, and I'm more than happy to expand on that later on in the presentation or afterwards. I won't go into too much detail on this slide, but I think it's important from a macro point of view. I mentioned to you at the beginning the expected net dividend of 8% each year paid quarterly. I think in the environment that we're in at the moment, interest rates, particularly in a number of countries, are at all-time lows, 25 basis points, 50 basis points. And if you're an investor in need of yield, in need of cash, holding cash is not going to get you that return. So you need to look at alternative assets, and the Diversified Alpha Fund will deliver an expected dividend of 8%. So I think, the macro background is very much lending itself towards what we're trying to do. I hope by now that you may have a sense of why we think there's a good investment opportunity here. And the opportunity is to invest in a Cayman-regulated mutual fund. It's also enabling investors to benefit from the ABC approach of Carlton James Group. And I think I've called it the Diversified Alpha Fund, which it is, but it's essentially a multi-asset class. I'll come back to capital preservation and risk management, and one of the key ways to do that is by ensuring you have significant diversification in your portfolio. I think that is a key point to take away from the presentation this evening. Also with a multi-asset fund, they're typically lower in terms of risk than a single asset fund. If you only invest in equities or in property alone, then you're exposed to that asset class entirely. But the Diversified Alpha Fund is spread across core asset classes, property and debt, but there are also commodity trading aspects to the portfolio alongside technology investments and other private equity investments. So as I'll come back to it, we look to diversify the book as much as we can. I think I know I reiterate the point, but the fact that yield generating north of 8% each year is key in this market. And I think what investors are not interested in doing is investing in funds that are just going to sit on cash. They want to know that the investment manager has significant investment opportunities in order to put that money to work. And at the Carlton James Group, we do have significant opportunities. Dr. Munir talked about Pakistan, opportunities in Pakistan. We have a number of opportunities in Europe. We have a number of opportunities in the United States of America and other parts of the world. So the capacity for the strategy is several billion. Next page, Costa. This touches slightly on some of the investment opportunities available to us. It includes sports grounds and music venues, art. I know there's a particular person in the room this evening who's very much interested in art, and that's an asset class that we also have an interest in investing in as well. Go to the next one. I think I've probably covered a number of key points on the fund this evening, but just to conclude, the Diversified Alpha Fund is multi-asset in nature, investing across very different asset classes. The core investments are backed by assets. Come back to the capital preservation point. I think that's a key takeaway for this evening. But the alpha part of the portfolio has the potential to deliver significant upside. For example, the commodity trading part of the platform delivered 96% net returns last year alone, pretty significant by anyone's standards. It's a scalable strategy delivering a significant yield, and it does have differentiation. It's very different from other multi-asset funds that exist out there. And I think the last 5 years have showed that the Carlton James Group has had a very positive track record, and we hope to continue in that vein. We will be around for the rest of the evening. I'm happy to take any questions now or later on, and we do have a brochure for those who are interested, which covers pretty much all of the contents of the presentation. So I'm happy to take any questions now or later on during the night. Thank you very much.
Presentation, and you rightly enlightened us about the investment opportunities with the Carlton James Group, the Diversified Alpha Fund. I just want to add a few words here. That it is a mutual fund, regulated mutual fund, but it has a very distinctive flavor. The capital preservation is at the foremost or the top priority. Secondly, the entry ticket is very low. It is just 20,000 US dollars, or one can start with, if it is sterling, as low as 15,000 British pounds. So it is designed or structured in such a way that includes more and more people. I mean, let's look at the global economic environment. Let's look at how things are changing rapidly all across the globe, and one always has to look at opportunities where some of our savings are performing well and are protected. We have some sort of capital preservation in place. And not only that, it also serves the people who are planning retirement. So it also serves the people who are salaried and they need some extra saving, and also for the large corporates to diversify some of their funds into something remarkable, and then look at the yields or the targeted returns, 8% and 13.39% targeted annualized returns. Now, this is something which makes Diversified Alpha Fund a very, very attractive investment opportunity. I wish we all look at it. Well, having said that, we are very honored to have a director of Dun & Bradstreet with us here today. I welcome Mr. Arvind Raghav with the core of my heart. Thank you so much for being with us today. So let's listen to Tehmira Beg from Dun & Bradstreet about how relationships work in data. So Tehmira Beg.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to see you all here. Dun & Bradstreet, as many of you already know, is a US-based company, a 176-year-old company. We are the largest database company, which means we hold around 265 million company profiles around the globe. Our existence is in 190 countries. Our solutions include research and advisory, risk management solutions, sales and marketing. The audience here today would be more interested in the risk management solution area, where we can offer feasibility reports, techno-viability reports, and valuation reports. All of these reports, all of these requirements come in time to time. Requirement is a need, and we just know how to fulfill it by a simple answer: building relationships. There's a small video I would like you all to see. It's just a 2-minute interesting video. Kelsey, you're the boss.
Relationships. Relationships.
关系 la relation.
Relationships.
And business is built on that. Where would companies be without customers?
Employers without employees.
What would companies be without suppliers? And done without Bradstreet.
Without relationships.
We'd all be on our own.
Dun & Bradstreet understand what makes the relationship. Relationships between data.
Relationships between businesses. Relationships that bring people together in trust and trade.
For nearly 2 centuries.
Since the time when agents rode on horseback.
And brought people together with a simple handshake.
To today's data scientists who uncover truth and meaning in ever-changing data. Dun & Bradstreet has helped ideas become bigger.
Insights become smarter.
Opportunities to emerge.
And people to prosper.
We know this because we are some of their customers.
The settlers, their employees. And for nearly 2 centuries, for the last 2 years,
5 years.
10 years, 13 years,
30 years. They've helped valuable businesses like ours.
like ours. Communals,
Como nuestros.
Amarítero.
像我们的企业一样 like ours.
Like ours. To grow.
This is what makes us Dun & Bradstreet.
So DNB believes in building relationships. Are you ready yet? If yes, let's join hands together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanira. Now is the time to see something really, truly, honestly amazing. I never saw anything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time to invite Mr. Sergio Zamboni from Eros Cosmo, Italy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be here in this honorable session. My name is Sergio Zamboni. I'm the Vice President of Ares Cosmo. It's a medium company based south of Rome with several subsidiaries in Italy and one subsidiary in Pensacola, USA. Thank you. The activity of Ares Cosmo is double way, defense and space. But we have a common base for the two businesses, is the protection of people, soldiers or astronauts, in harsh environment. So we protect. That is our mission. But now we talk of not of the soldiers, but of the astronauts, because we are in the space and we are a very active partner in this very peculiar kind of industry. Next. Okay, so the MEB means wait. MENS means the Mars Experience Base Hotel. So this is a very peculiar and fascinating type of hotel that, as Munir said, is the first time that, in our opinion, is proposed worldwide. Why? We'll see in the next slides. Italy, maybe this is not widely known. Italy has a very long tradition in space. We have been the third nation after USSR and after USA to launch a satellite back in 1964 from an offshore, a platform offshore Kenya. And since then, the Italian industry in space grew, and we are one of the companies that has exploited this growth. But there are, and Ares Cosmo, as written here, has developed the competence in particular in inflatable structures, modules. We'll see some in the next picture, but also in a very strange kind of agriculture, that is the space agriculture. That means that once the long-term deep space missions will start, will be no more possible to resupply the spacecraft with water, with food, as happens now with the International Space Station, that every weeks or months, there is a continuous flow of rockets going from Earth to the ISS to bring water, to bring food, and to bring back the waste. This will be not possible. So there, a new kind of research was born in the last couple of decades, that is space agriculture, and Ares Cosmo is plays an important role in this sector. For instance, we have since 2004 we are organizing a biennial every 2 years, a conference participating by the major experts in this sector from NASA, from European Space Agency, from Canadian Space Agency, from Italian Space Agency, German Space Agency, but not only, but from university research, that how to cultivate, how to produce food in space, where there is no the conditions as on Earth, of course. Next conference will be held in Rome, and if there is somebody of you that interested, I will be glad to send you the invitation. Will be in May 2018. Next, please. So this is a prototype of the greenhouse that we have developed in our company. But I would like to explain why we are talking this evening to you, because there are basically 4 reasons. Number one, because in this country there is a big trust toward Mars. Everybody are excited, particularly the UAE Space Agency, that, as you know, is the only and the unique, has been the first and the unique space agency in the Arab world. Number 2, because there is Expo. Expo will be a fantastic opportunity to attract people also for this type of accommodation. There is a fantastic desert. We are not looking on desert of pure sand, but desert with rocks, as there are in the zones of southwest, in the zone toward the Oman border. And the 4th reason, as we said before, because Ares Cosmo is specialized in this kind technologies. Next, please. I would like to show here something that I am very proud. Last month, the month of September of last year, arrived on Mars a mission called ExoMars, financed and organized by the European Space Agency. And the parachute you are seeing has been designed and manufactured by our company. Everything went well until a point. I cannot move, otherwise you will lose the voice. But until this point, when the parachute was able to decrease the speed of the platform from a supersonic speed to about 2,030 kilometers per hour. At that point, as planned, the platform was released, and I will not say the end of the story because it's not very, very happy, but was because of other problems that not caused by the parachute. Shortly, the rockets for the retro rockets for the descending were shut down 3 seconds after the ignition because of a failure of the radar altimeter. But we are proud because what we have designed, developed, performed perfectly. I had the fortune to touch physically the textile of the parachute when it was during the test, and this textile is resting on Mars forever. It's there, and so I think that we can say that we are one of the few companies in the world having said that we have something that has been done by us that is on Mars and that was worked, that performed well. Okay, next, please. Now we have to go to the inflatable structure. Why inflatable? Because they have the characteristic to have a low weight, and when are deployed, they have big volumes. This technology has been selected by NASA, successfully tested in a prototype that is actually on the International Space Station. But we also, in Ares Cosmo, we have capabilities for a inflatable structure. We have, next, we have, this is what NASA is thinking for inflatable structures. And next, these 2 prototypes has been developed by our company for European Space Agency. One is called IMOD, and the second one is STEPS 2. Next, please. We are looking at the location that has to be an arid and dry desert, not very far from Expo. For instance, we have found on Google this site in Wadi Shakwa that apparently is a good place. It's about 60, 70 kilometers from Dubai. And it's very similar to the Mars environment, also the color. Next. We think that an agreement from the investor with a top-class hotel corporation is necessary because they have to provide support for housekeeping, for catering, for services of the structure, and also offer touristic packages and so on. Next, please. Okay, now we have a short video. It will last 4 minutes roughly, and then we will continue the presentation. You should click on the, okay. here we think to bring the visitors with the shuttle or also with helicopters, to accompany them to the entrance. Here is the connection with the greenhouse system. The only supply of energy will be with the photovoltaics. And we think at an astronomical observatory. The line you see is a line when you trespassing the line, you will leave Earth and will enter into Mars. The training, maybe is it too high? The basic concept is that nothing must enter into the site. No energy, no food, no water. Everything must be generated locally because on Mars everything must be done there. So a fully coherence with the Mars conditions. Energy, the water will be totally regenerated, and the food, as we'll see later, will be produced locally. Nothing from outside. That means that the type of diet will be completely vegetarian, of course. On Mars, there will be no possibility to have animal proteins. Some extravehicular activity, and always with extravehicular cloth. Okay, I have a few slides to conclude my presentation. Basic characteristics are, as we said, the full self-sufficiency. Next. The close compliance with the living conditions. This is important because there are certain conditions on Mars that cannot be replicated on Earth. For instance, gravity, that is 1/3 of the gravity on Earth. And the only way is to have big machines, but we cannot accommodate 80 people, so it's not realistic. Atmospheric pressure is 2% of the pressure on Earth. That means it's very thin, it's very light, the atmosphere on Mars. And that cannot be replicated, of course. And the composition is more than 90% is carbon dioxide. and is very dangerous. A person cannot breathe outside. In a few minutes, he will die. Temperature, Mars is very cold planet. Average temperature is minus 40 degrees centigrade, ranging from minus 140 up to plus 35 degrees. So in general, it's a very and the extension is very large because the atmosphere is thin. So there is not the protection of. And luckily, we have not to replicate the cosmic radiations that in Mars are very heavy and dangerous, while on Earth we are protected by atmosphere. Okay, as we said already that this is another important point. In order to be compliant with the Mars, we have considered to give to each guest a personal smartphone with their SIM card, with their numbers, etc. They can call home or the office, but there will be a delay because the distance between Mars and Earth is varying from 3 minutes to 22 minutes. That means an average of 12 minutes. Or will be the real distance in that time between the two planets. And also the answer back will be delayed of 12 minutes. But this is nothing to do. It is because of the Einstein laws that they say that nothing can go faster than the speed of the light. Next, please. And we use, of course, the most extensive BLSS, I don't know if I ever mentioned, means bioregenerative life support system technologies that are the technological basis for this project. So the preliminary configuration will be about 20-25 rooms in the years with 2 or 4 beds each, 10 tunnels, and we think that guests will stay as average 2 days, 2 nights. Okay, we have already. It's important that in the training center we have provided. We think to provide a virtual reality systems to have a better training conditions. For the food will be quite a large capacity. We think that this will be maybe the largest fully contained and fully controlled environment greenhouse on Earth. About 20 tons of vegetables per year. There will be a mix of tomatoes, potatoes, zucchini, etc. And will be based on hydroponic and aeroponic cultivation. Next, please. And water will be completely regenerated, and also the air will be totally filtered. I suggest to go quickly because I would like to one question will be, but what they will do in 2 days? Okay, this is a list of the activities that you see that is very full. This is day 2. Okay. Of course, if a guest would like to stay more, we will be very happy. But I think that the life on Mars will be a tough living. So it's, but the spirit of this project is to give the people the possibility to touch personally how the life will be difficult. Even if it's on Earth, on Mars will be even more, because there the temperature and so on is different. Okay, go. This is important. For this project, we need about 3 years. This is the split of the major task and the steps. Next. What will be the benefits for the investor? This will be a very strong, in our opinion, very strong attractiveness for people at high spending people, because the cost for the price for the rates will be much higher than a normal scientific thematic park. Incidentally, all the financial data, because of an agreement we have, Aspire World Investment, will be released by them upon request. So today I will not talk of rates, of cost of investment. I would like just to say that according to the figures we have developed together with them, the project has a very high return on investment in terms of, for instance, of IRR, high profitability, and the cash flow also is very interesting. Another interesting point is that the image of the country that will be even more on the forefront of the companies on run toward Mars. And as I said, it's very important to be ready for the opening of Expo 2020 that is scheduled for October 2020. Next. Final remarks. Number one goal is to be the first to build a Martian hotel on Earth. Number two, to be ready for Expo. But of course, because we need 36 months, we have a very limited window for decision, 2-3 months. After that, the target of Expo will be jeopardized. And this is very important. There is a lesson to be learned from this staying. People that will come back home will understand that it's possible to produce food with very low water. In this kind of greenhouse is necessary only 2% of the water that is used on open field agriculture. There is no chemicals because there are no insects, no contamination, and the production is all the year round. And it's important to show how to reduce the footprint of the modern standard living. So at the end, our message is, next, a more sustainable way on Earth is possible. Thank you. If there is any question now or later, as you like. Yeah. You can push the button. So what is the drainage system there? Sorry? Any? Drainage system, you know, the drainage? Drainage? No drainage, because all the use of the water, including the humans one, will be recycled and regenerated in a completely safe way. There are already on Earth, there are in other systems, equipment that can do that. So we will use this kind of technologies. So no drainage. There will be only a limited addition of water because some water will evaporate. So the idea is to generate water with the machines that are able to extract water from the humidity of the air on Earth. On Mars will be a different story because on Mars there is no water, there is no air, but there is ice on the poles. So the scientists are looking to bring ice from the poles, I'm talking of Mars, and melt the ice and to produce water. But we cannot do this in the Emirates. It's not possible to bring the ice from the Antarctica or the Arctic glaciers. You are skeptic? Consider that in many cities of the world, I think also here, also the waste are recycled and the water is purified and sent back to the potable water system. So it is not nothing exceptional, something that works well. Okay? Thank you.
I think your questions are related more to the colonization of Mars itself. So once we'll have our developers building large housing on Mars, then yes, these are very relevant questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Zamboni, for showcasing a great project, an ambitious project, and we at Aspire are really proud to be working with Aras Cosmo, and we wish that we shape it into reality. Thank you so much. Well, now I would like to invite our friend, Mr. August Khan Karair from the Macro Group, Georgia.
Good evening. Is that? All right, okay. My name is Oğuz Khan Karar. I'm coming from Georgia. Actually, I'm representing Macro Group. We are actually a Turkish company. Maybe many of you never been in Georgia before. I'm living in Georgia last 4 years. It is a neighbor country to Turkey, and I never had any clue about Georgia. Maybe the information I will be providing to you tonight, regarding Georgia, it will be very interesting for you. Maybe you need to click it. Yeah. As a macro group, we are investing in 4 different fields. If you go to the next slide.
Macro group. Everybody deserves a good life. Smart living is a concept that involves improved living standards in all aspects of life, including homes, workplaces, and social environments. Smart living is all about integrating all the elements that make up a meaningful and happy life. Macro Group is one of Georgia's top 5 foreign investors operating in several fields, from construction and development, hotels and accommodation, furniture manufacturing, and retail to the food business. Macro Group investments for today are up to $300 million with a single aim only: to provide better living standards to people, the highest deserves a good life. Yes, this is what Macro Group does. A beautiful home close to the charms of nature, a hotel room that's just right, a delicious meal with family or friends, and furnishing to make your living space special. That's all Macro Group is about because everybody deserves a good life.
I am responsible for sales, marketing, and developing project in macro construction site. We developed our first project in 2014, beginning of 2014, and completed in 2016. The first project is Green Budapest. The second one is Green Diamond. We are calling our projects green because in all the plots we are developing project, one of three space we are making green area, creating green area. If you just go to the next step. For example, first, Green Budapest project has like nearly 12,000 square meter area and 3,500 square meters only green. Actually, in Georgia, we are the only company who is trying to create lifestyle for the people. In Georgia, all the developers, they are not making renovated units. They are making shell and core. You know, most of you knows what does that mean, shell and core. In other countries, the office spaces, the developers are only doing office spaces, shell and core. But in Georgia, everybody is making shell and core. But what we made a decision to create renovated units in Georgia. And with the facilities in green area, like playgrounds. When we start selling it was a unique product in Georgia. When we start selling the project, we start selling the project $900 per square meter. Till end of the construction, we increase the price $1,400. So the people who trust us at the beginning and who purchase a unit, they made a profit more than 50%. This is the project that we developed in 2014 and completed in 2016. And there is one more video regarding Green Budapest. If you can just click it, the slide after this. No, you need to go back. Sorry. Go back. This is Green Diamond. Yes, here. You just need to click it.
Green Budapest. Live close to nature. In 2014, Macro Construction launched an ambitious residential complex, Green Budapest. 351 apartments built to European standards. The complex began functioning in 2016. A good environment, fresh air, and quiet neighborhood. World's primarily consideration choosing the location of Green Budapest. 1/3 of the area with tall, beautiful trees, green grass lawns, and bushes. Everything that makes residents feel close to nature. Basketball courts, playgrounds, fitness center, children daycare center, car park, and entrance security. The amenities of each apartment include central heating, double glass noise-proof plastic windows, massive iron front door, kitchen, and bathrooms equipped with full fittings and entrance door intercom system, a remote control, and so on. For main buildings are 15 to 23 stories high, with apartments from 42 up to 407 meters squared. Green Budapest Complex has provided 1 year free site management services like security, cleaning, and gardening. Project investment, $48 million.
This is the in Green Georgian market is a very interesting market actually. I just want to give you very brief information about the market. The return of the investment is the country's average is 10%. I know that it is not like very easy to believe. You will not going to believe this number very easy, but this is true. Because 94% of the population, they have their own house. They received this house from ex-Soviet government. Therefore, the rental market is very limited. This is the reason why the rent prices are so high, but the country's income average is so low. This is the reason why the unit prices are not very high. Approximately it is like $1,000 to $1,500. In very good areas, it goes up to like $2,500. That's the maximum. So in Green Budapest, the average rent price are like $10. This is the second good location in Tbilisi, actually. And when you purchase the unit at the beginning of the project for $1,000, your investment returns to you in 10 years. So the RIO is 10%. But what we did in Green Diamond, we create more smaller units. For example, we have 4 different unit types. One of them is 1 bedroom, big 1 bedroom and 1 living room. It is the minimum square meter is 35 square meter to 45 square meter. And we have 2 types of 2 bedroom. One of them is 55, the other one is 75 square meter, and we have 3 bedroom units, which is like 95 square meter. The people are not looking for like big spaces in Georgia. They are looking for room number. Therefore, we create this small square meter units. By this way, for example, Green Diamond location is not very near to the city center. It's like 7-8 kilometers away from the city center, but it is in very good, like I call that location hidden paradise. I mean, all the Olympic complex is just next to the project, and this location will also increase in near future. So you also, I mean, the people who is buying from Green Diamond, they are also investing in the development. Also, they are investing in the location also. This is the pictures of the Green Diamond. We start, the total land of the Green Diamond is 7 hectares, and we have like nearly 2,000 units. And we divide this project into 3 different phases. First phase, we start the construction last year in May, and we will be completing the construction next year in May. But all the units has been sold already. Not even 1 unit left. If you go, there is one slide after this. After this. I think you missed it again. All right, never mind. You can continue. This is the unit type I was mentioning. This is 1 bedroom unit. The second one. This is the open kitchen, small 2 bedroom unit. This is closed kitchen, 2 bedroom unit. And this is 3 bedroom unit. In Green Budapest, 70% of our clients were like buying the units for living purpose. But in Green Diamond, we finished the Green Budapest 3 months earlier than our promise. Therefore, we gained the trust very quickly in the country. And we also start receiving the investors from different countries, especially Middle East countries, because the price are so reasonable and we have very flexible payment terms. For example, the 35 square meter unit we have is like $35,000. Per square meter is only $1,000. And you are renting this unit $10 per square meter, and you're receiving your money back in 7 years. The RIO is like up to 14%, which is unbelievable actually. Can you continue? One more. One more. Yeah. The price I'm mentioning, it is all including like VAT, all the tax, everything. In the country, why we are investing in Georgia, because you don't need to pay any tax. If you invest your business, you don't need to pay. And if you purchase any unit, If you don't sell it in 2 years' time, when you sell it, you don't need to pay any tax. When you rent it out, you don't up to $40,000 rental income per year. You don't need to pay any tax. If you need to pay tax, if you sell it in 2 years, you only need to pay 5%. If you have more than $40,000 rental income every year, you only need to pay 5% tax. And you don't need to pay any money for for title deed. It is only 55 lari, which is like $20, and this is very easy process. You can make your unit registration like in 4 days, and you can see in public web page. You can see your name in public. The market is very clear. The country is very easy to live. It's very comfortable. It's very safe, and the people are very friendly. Also, one of the reasons why we are receiving many clients from Middle East countries, the reason is when you invest in the country $35,000 or more, they are giving you residency for 1 year. If you keep the unit under your name, you can prolong it every year. And all prices are starting from $35,000.
New life is beginning in Tbilisi. Macro Construction's second large-scale product is Green Diamond. Beautifully designed residential complex of European standards. Unique living area built on 70,000 square meters, 1/3 of it green, with 1,770.
For example, this is duplex unit, 40 square meter, 1 bedroom.
Square meters on the ecologically clean area, away from the city rhythm, close to nature, surrounded by trees and beautiful nature landscape. Swimming pools, offices, playgrounds, car parks, schools, and kindergartens, shops, fitness centers. It's simply a city in the city to make the top comfort for residents. This project was launched in May 2016, including 3 stages. The first, which 731 units building, will be completed in May 2018. Just 8 kilometers away from the city center.
Sales finish 9 months before the construction, the first phase. This is the first phase.
Fully renovated units. All the apartments will be equipped with kitchen fittings, appliances, a stove, an oven, and range hood. To facilitate investors, Macro Construction will provide a rent management and resale service, cooperating with an international real estate company. So don't miss the chance. New life is beginning in Tbilisi. Project investment, $120 million.
I'm not going to take your time too much, but I'm just going to show you a couple of slides more. Okay, we just start the first stage starting from $744, and the last unit we sold last month, the last price was $1,150. So the price has been increased 55% in 1.5 years. We start the second stage with the price of $950 last 2 weeks ago during the Cityscape exhibition, and we already sold like 30%, and we will gonna finish we will gonna sell the last unit with $1,250. And the other stage, we will gonna start selling that stage next year in May, and our starting price will be approximately $1,000, and we will gonna finish it with $1,350. So, from the beginning till to end, the investors are making like 82% profit. So, which is like, I think, in my opinion, it's a huge profit in dollar basis. Also, it is very easy to buy. We have very flexible payment terms. You only need to pay like 10% down payment, and 40% we are divided to the construction period, and we are taking the 50% at the end. This is one of the main reason why we are selling so fast. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karair. The project is really interesting. It's really good. And we hope that you will sell again 100% before even the construction starts. I was very happy to know when we were informed that Georgia is a very peaceful country. It's very safe, and the returns are very high, and the tax regulations are very conducive to the foreign investors. We are very honored to have Macro Group at Aspire World Investments. Thank you very much. Well, now is the time to invite an old friend, a man who has to say a lot. And we welcome here after such a long time. Last time when he was here, it was still winters. And it's very good to see Mr. Neil Willis, Director of Operations, Carlton James Group, back in Dubai. Let's welcome Mr. Neil Willis.
Dr. Amir, that's a fantastic welcome. So I've got a very brief 45-minute presentation here. You'd be glad I haven't. So the last time I was here was actually for the very, very first Aspire Wealth seminar. And since then we have this fantastic video about Carlton James. So I can ask you to spend around a minute watching this. That would be greatly appreciated.
2008, the world suffered one of the worst global economic crises in history. With no fail-safe options in place, and after years of overconfidence, the banking sector crumbled. This wasn't the first time such events have happened, and it won't be the last. The heavy cost of the banking sector's overconfidence and subsequent difficulty forced lending institutions to toughen their lending protocols, leaving many companies, developers, and everyday investors with fewer vehicles to fund their endeavors. This marked the tipping point in this most recent boom and bust cycle. As that cycle begins again, many investment groups and lending firms are not proactively preparing for the next global economic bust, leaving their investors and borrowers at risk. The Carlton James Group has a different approach. Formed in one of the worst bust eras of our lifetime, the group has been able to secure unprecedented returns in the face of a receding global economy. The group's success stems from its key principles: to protect investments by preparing for the next global crisis, and by looking for multiple opportunities within every opportunity, as well as securing multiple exit strategies to aid this investment protection. Diversification is crucial to the success of any portfolio, and Carlton James takes on that responsibility on behalf of their many investors. The Carlton James strategy utilizes diversification within asset classes, terms, location, and jurisdictional considerations to effectively manage cash-flowing assets. Simultaneously, the investment criteria seek assets that represent true added value and the potential for high growth. The group utilizes their many years of experience in financing, retirement planning, construction, and the public sector to secure opportunities for the fund in a wide range of industries across the globe to boost the group's growth pattern. With these parameters in place, the Carlton James Group is able to offer the market dynamic products that mitigate risk by securing investment over diversified asset classes and yield high returns without the worry of personal management. Carlton James, the investor's choice.
So my colleague John has already talked a bit about Carlton James and what we're doing currently for our investors with our own fund. But I'd like to spend literally a few minutes talking about the future of Carlton James and also how others, perhaps in this room, can benefit from our fund structures and also from our capital raising experience. So as you know, Carlton James started in 2012, and we've specialized in boutique investment opportunities across diverse asset classes utilizing a combination typically of debt and equity. So we act as a lender and typically also take an equity stake in the projects we work with. So far, we've offered private offerings to our investors. We've worked with private offerings in the US, offering commercial real estate. We've worked in the US with residential real estate funds. And we've also worked in the US with technology funds, very exciting liquid silicon technology. The best thing for our international investors is we spend a lot of time and money getting the structure of the investment vehicles right. They've been particularly structured for international investors in a very safe, tax-efficient manner. And although we're investing into the US for the assets, the actual investment funds have stayed at arm's length from US taxes. What we now have is a new Carlton James fund platform, both for ourselves and also for third-party companies that would like to raise capital in a similar manner. So we've worked hard to create an SPC company in Cayman. SPC stands for Segregated Protected Cell Company. And what that is a registered mutual fund registered in Cayman. It allows us to have our own funds on there. The first fund on there is the Diversified Alpha Fund, which John talked for a few minutes about. But it also allows us to have other funds under the same structure. Other funds can hold other segregated portfolios. That means there can be multiple funds on the platform, and the assets and liabilities of the funds are segregated and separated from each other. So what we're currently doing is adding many new funds, both our own funds and third-party funds, to the platform. We have many exciting funds ourselves coming up, and I'm sure that over the course of the next few Aspire Wealth seminars, those will be brought to light. But we're also starting to work with third-party companies. This is the perfect fund platform for emerging fund managers or for others who wish to raise capital for projects in a similar manner. There's a defined process in place for working with new funds, but for those looking to raise capital, it is cost-effective, and you can benefit from our previous track record in capital raising. In order to work with third-party companies, we obviously have to like you, and you have to like us. And there's a formal process in place through D&B, our colleagues in the room today. But we look forward, thank you very much. We look forward to working, hopefully, with a few companies around this table. To outline a little bit more, I don't think he's going to say anything, but I'd just like to parade our CEO up here for a second so you know who he is. Come on, Simon, give us a wave.
So look, guys, we've been talking a lot, and I'm sure you're sick of hearing Carlton James for this one evening. I just want you all to kind of take a moment, whether it be tonight or tomorrow, whenever you can, just take a moment about and think about a moment in your life or in the life of your country where you've seen an economic downturn. The problem we have as human beings is we get stuck in this cycle of when the going's good, forgetting about the bad times. When the going's bad, jumping ship, running for our lives, getting scared, thinking the world's going to end, and then it happens again. And it continues to happen, and we continue to go through that cycle. Carlton James are looking for companies, they're looking for investment opportunities, they're looking for investors to come along with us and protect ourselves against those busts. Protect your capital, diversify your portfolio, protect yourself against global economic crises that is beyond your control. That's what Carlton James is about. Capital protection through diversification. Whether that's helping other companies get onto our platform so they can offer a product, or putting our own products out there. It's all about capital protection, it's all about security, and it's all about preparing for that bust. So the booms are even bigger. They're even bigger booms for us because we're prepared to make money during the bust periods. So if you're interested in finding out more about our platform or more about the Diversified Alpha Fund, by all means, Excellent, thank you.
And just a very quick thank you on behalf of myself and the company and the other speakers to Dr. Munir and Dr. Umar. Thank you.
It's a great honor for Aspire World Investments to invite the guest of honor of today's 9th Aspire Investment Summit. I would like to request His Excellency Dr. Syed Kaisar Anis, the President of Pakistan Business and Professionals Council, Abu Dhabi, to please come and say the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Umair Mehmood. Thank you so much for inviting and honoring. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dr. Munir Ahmad Chaudhry Sahab, the President of Aspire World International, Dr. Umair Mehmood Sahab, my board member Iqbal Naseem, he is the VP President, my Executive Vice President, Mr. Riaz Malik Sahab, the leader of the Pakistan Professional Business Council, Mr. Simon Carlton and his team member, very strong team, especially Mr. John and Mr. Neil. Our founding member was also here, Mr. Zafar Iqbal Chaudhry. I really honor, he's founded this council 12 years ago. Tamina Saiba of Dunbras, I really appreciate for her presentation and impressed the resource she has. And Mr. Sergio Zanubi, it's really, he took us in future to us, especially on Mars. And you all know that yesterday the project announced in United Arab Emirates for the Mars, allocating $500 million for the project. And from Green Diamond, Mr. August Khan, I really appreciate your presentation and your success. I want to introduce what is Pakistan Business Professional Council. This is established 12 years ago and working hand to hand with Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce, where you are sitting. I commend Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce for their contribution to the economy of especially Abu Dhabi and rather whole United Arab Emirates. It's not just my words which is saying, it's the deed which is saying their vision, the way they take the members. They have, if you understand, there are 50,000 members in this chamber, 50,000. And to take them and to meet their objective and to support them is a task. There are various strategies, and just to add, like our council, Pakistan Business Professional Council, there are 40 business council more functioning from different countries. They are here, they are identifying projects for their country, they're making joint venture, and they're taking it to their country and bringing technology to here. And this is the way the United Arab Emirates, and especially Abu Dhabi, has developed parallelly. And especially in the difference is technology. If you heard about the way United Arab Emirates attract the technology, and we are very proud that they always a leader in this competitive world. If any new things comes up, it starts from Abu Dhabi and Dubai. You all know that the government is very e-government. Everything is paperless. And you can imagine that this young country has it, which when I go to US, they don't have those things. We are all very, very fortunate that we live in United Arab Emirates. As you all know, that there are more than 200 nationalities living in United Arab Emirates. And there where we are very proud for the government, especially the president, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, God gave him long life and good health. The Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, a great visionary, great leader. I think we have learned a lot. The region has learned a lot from him. And really, he is an unparalleled leader. And of course, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, he is the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. He did a great contribution in developing, apart from his father, late Sheikh Zayed. May Allah give him place in heaven. His contribution, his guidance, which all we succeed. As I say, we all very, very lucky. And I will just share some good news. You can see that market is down, and I'm here with the good news that the meeting which they had yesterday in Saadiyat Island, the ruler and the top officials, they have 130 projects has been announced going to be an important sector. And this will be a very big boost to the economy and the vision of 2021, which will be completing 50 years of United Arab Emirates. I'm really proud, and I would like you all to applaud for this great vision and policy. In that plan, 130 projects, that for the Mars project also been announced, where they allocated $500 million. So for you, you already have a project, you can work on that. It not ends, and you know that 2020 is coming up, and 2020 will attract a lot of companies in United Arab Emirates, and especially in Dubai. And of course, when Dubai is not very far, 140 kilometers in Abu Dhabi, from Abu Dhabi. So it's all, everyone will share this, and we all, I will say, all the businessmen, all our members, they should get ready themselves, that how you have these opportunities to be encashed. You have to have a good planning. You have to have a good, without planning, nothing can come up. Nothing will come up, this thing. And I will say, like Carlton James, they have a diversified project, and they're saying that they give a return of 18 or more, 12%, and the ticket is as very small of $20,000. It's a good opportunity for this. This is not available normally, but where this such opportunity will be more opportunity. They're like in properties. Normally, when the property boom started in 2002, 2003, there were good opportunities was here. So there's a lot of areas where investment can come here. There's another announcement is this, that United Arab Emirates will celebrate their centennial in 2071. So all these are good news coming up. Okay, what are the challenges you all have? There are some challenges also coming. You all know that from 1st of October there will be excise duty coming up. The excise duty will be coming, it will be loaded to the energy drink, it will be loaded to cigarettes, and it will be loaded to tobacco. So you all ready. So there will be a system coming up, and I think those who have in those business, they should be ready. And from 1st of January, you will be having VAT system, VAT, and they have a 5% VAT, and I will request all of you which you are here that get ready now. Don't wait for the time of 1st January, because if you plan now, possibly you can economize your payments, because the transition period you have now only 3 months left, and you have to map around your setup, how much is your stock, how much is your receivable, how much is your payable, you have to vision it so where it should apply, where you can settle things before 31st of December so that in crossing you should not pay the VAT on those things. So you can plan and you can do consultancy. There are few boards are there, like Elliott Group, they are doing a VAT service and they have a very senior leaders on VAT. They have training from Ministry of Finance. And then you have CSR. You must know that CSR is also coming up here, which is contribution to the community. So all these are great policy. I close my speech. I know it's gone very long for all you, and I really thank you on behalf of, and I'm very proud for Aspire World International, their team. They are a great platform where they're inviting and helping the investors, the businessmen, and the reason of Pakistan Business Council is very keen and supportive. They are our corporate members. We all support we have many corporate members, we have many professional members. And other reason of this, to support them, is that they are planning to working in Pakistan, and that interests us because we want to see that the investment flow both ways. And the Pakistan Business Council is what you call one road, one belt, one OBOR, is going to be 63 countries. I don't know whether you all know or not that. 63 countries involved. The Chinese president made other day the speech that 63 countries will be one belt, one road, and where Aspire World also included in that thing, and they're making a platform for business. So from this podium, I wish all the best to all of you and hope you all have gained by coming and putting time, and I'm sure my best wishes and success to everyone. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions, you can comment out. And last thanks to the management who have done, and especially Ethel coming from my office every time. Mine it is the 9th investment conference we are supporting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Dr. Syed Kaisar Anis, President, Pakistan Business and Professionals Council, Abu Dhabi. And indeed, the support from His Excellency is in person and from the Pakistan Business and Professionals Council has been of a great value to the Aspire World Investments. Well, moving towards the end of today's evening, I'll request our honorable guest, Mr. Arvind Raghav from Dun & Bradstreet and Tahmira from Dun & Bradstreet to please join us here on the podium, close to the podium for the signing ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be very happy to know that we are working with Dun & Bradstreet with respect to outsourcing our due diligence process, our techno-availability reporting, feasibilities, and the intellectual input that we usually require from our projects. So it's a great honor, and let's enjoy the signing ceremony tonight.
Investment agencies, both the agencies we are a partner to evaluate, to do a valuation as well as the feasibility of the projects that they would be working on. Tamira, of course, as I could gauge, I am new to the country. I actually arrived just about 20 days back. Been with Dun & Bradstreet for long, almost about 18 years. But of course, Tamira has been here, and as I could see, she's well known to the members here. Any requirement that you have, we have our brochures outside, we have our standee outside. Please feel free to contact us. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now.
Thank you.
All the best. I hope the first time you came here in this area?
Yeah, first time. Just been here for about 3 weeks actually.
3 weeks. Okay. Sure. New world. Nice to be
here.
here.
It is. Thank you. Thank you.
So all this time moving?
Thank you, Mr. Arvind, and thank you, Tamira. I would request His Excellency Dr. Sayyid Kassanis and Mr. Sheikh Mohammed to stay here. And we have another signing ceremony with a very promising, a great organization, Adam Global. I would like to request Mr. Hassan and Mr. Javed Khanasi to please come forward and just have a signing ceremony.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here in such a prestigious summit. It's really nice to be part of this group, and hopefully we'll be working together. Adam Global is basically UK-based company. It's 18 plus years in UAE, doing all the corporate services such as company formation, government liaising, and the business plans, IPRs, doing